Thank you for joining. I'm Sherry from Sunflowers and Petals. Today we are talking about how Pilates can improve core strength and cycling performance. If you enjoy this video, be sure to hit the like button below and also subscribe to my channel. Joining me today is Janine Newman, Iron Woman, Vision Quest triathlon coach, Pilates instructor, and ballerina. Welcome, Janine.
Thank you. Thank you, Sherry. I'm happy to be here.
Great to have you. So you have a very interesting professional background. Tell me about your professional path.
Okay. I do like to reference, was it Liam Neeson? I never even saw the movie, but I know the quote. I do feel like I have a weird particular set of skills just with the passions I've had growing up and to this day. But as you mentioned, I grew up as a ballet dancer, dancing 6 days a week, and had my eyes on a professional career. But for various reasons that would take like a whole other podcast or interview, I ended up moving towards a more traditional route, went to college, and I stopped, and I wasn't dancing during college and post-college. But soon after that, after I graduated with a business degree, now I missed dancing. I just wanted to dance because I love to dance, and got back into ballet and performed with the Nutcracker for 20 more years. And I was now on staff teaching ballet to kids and adults. And one of the other teachers there was just getting certified in Pilates and was looking for bodies to practice on. And I was totally interested, had done some reading about it, and I was hooked right off the bat. I loved the attention to detail, the technique that is involved. There's very much a mind-body connection, and that spoke to me from just how I grew up, but also I loved how I felt doing it. And so I pursued my certification, and for the record, that it took about a year, and it was over 600 hours of study and observation and levels of testing and whatnot. And so I've now been teaching for over 20 years. Now, during that time, I got married and had a baby. And when I had my son, I gained 68 pounds during my pregnancy.
Holy cow.
Now I'm trying to get back to work and my leotard and also teaching Pilates. And I decided I wanted to do something more to kind of get back into shape. And I started running and walk running. Actually hated running growing up and but slowly got into it. And I was encouraged. And my local town, Wakanda, was having their first ever triathlon. And me and my girlfriend, who also just had a baby, she lives 2 doors away, we decided to sign up. And now I fell in love with triathlon as well. And after years of competing in sprints and Olympics, and now I'm doing half Ironmans and Ironmans and marathons, I just loved the people I met, the lifestyle that I kind of grew, and got into coaching. I think the teaching from ballet kind of lended itself to coaching also. So I still teach ballet and Pilates and compete in triathlons and love to coach. That's
your life is full.
Full. And I'm very lucky to be able to do all the things that I love to do.
Well, I have to say, I've taken your Pilates classes for years, and they are killer.
It's not easy. Pilates is, it's exercise.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. I love to hate you. Let's put it that way. So, explain what Pilates is and how it translates to cycling performance.
Okay, Pilates it's a form of exercise that consists of, and done in a particular order, generally, that includes low impact flexibility, muscular strength, endurance movements. Pilates emphasizes proper alignment, core strength, and in Pilates we call your core your powerhouse, and just muscle balance. And Pilates was named after its creator, Joseph Pilates, in the 1920s, or he created it in the 1920s. He himself did not call it Pilates. He didn't say like, hey, let's do some Pilates, like after himself. That came years later. He called it contrology or contrology. And I sometimes bring that up when I'm teaching to remind us that it's all about controlling where our body parts are going and how we go about that using our core. Now for cycling, you want to be as efficient as you can. You want your movements to have meaning. And the more power you can produce with less effort, the faster you can go, the further you can go. So when you look at, I'm sure, I know I've been there as a tired cyclist, or I've seen others out on the road, you see forms start to fall apart. They're less stable on their bike. There's more rocking and rolling, like through the hips. You see knees kind of going out to the side or buckling in, and that becomes not efficient. But you look at the strong, someone who looks strong, they are solid in their saddle, their spines are still, their shoulders are still, and they're wasting less energy to propel themselves going forward. So the goal is, as a cyclist, right, is to try and maintain good form for and efficiently use your energy, and the further and faster you can go. And that's what one of the things Pilates does. It targets, like, how do you become stable, improving core strength. And it improves your balance. And so better core and better balance, also you have better bike handling skills, and that's both an advantage for performance and obviously safety. And also when you think about Pilates, and I mentioned alignment is important. That's, if I'm teaching a class or a one-on-one, a lot of my cues and the things I'm trying to see from the people I'm working with are hips lined up with shoulders, are your legs lined up with your hips, depending on what the move is. And I'm trying to keep the movement patterns efficient. And that completely translates to better force protection, or force production on the bike, and more, that's power, that's watts, and you're gonna get to where you wanna go faster, stronger. But also, faster and stronger might not be everybody's goal. You just love to ride your bike, but you want to be able to keep riding your bike. So the longevity of what Pilates can help bring is longevity to your cycling, because you're going to have better balance on your bike. You're going to most likely have less injury. The things that we're doing hopefully provide you an opportunity to, like, avoid injury and lengthen things that get tight when we ride. A lot of those things are addressed within just a regular Pilates session. You don't even need to walk into a Pilates class and say that you're a cyclist. It kind of just comes with the package. But of course, every cyclist can benefit from that. That's what's so cool about Pilates.
Well, also, like, from your classes, I've noticed, like, key muscle groups that are weak that I'm very surprised as a strong cyclist they are. So which key muscle groups do you think cyclists would be surprised to hear that they're weak?
Their glutes. It's like your glutes. It seems like that should be, it's because usually the quadriceps are overworking. So when you have weak glutes, your potential for a lower power is there. Knee and hip pain, like I mentioned, overworked quadriceps. I'd also say the adductors, so you're like your inner thighs. Those inner thighs are a part of your core. A lot of times people think core, they just think abs, but that's your core is not only your abs, it's your butt, your hips, your inner thighs, your outer thighs. So inner thighs. And I talk with a lot of cyclists, especially if you've been riding indoors a lot and now are riding outside on terrain that's more uneven, or now you're stopping and starting based on terrain or traffic. Your inner thighs do a lot of stabilizing as you, like, absorb those things. So those are a couple areas, and not only just weak muscles. The other thing I see in cyclists and even in runners too is a mobility issue when it comes to your back. We, first of all, spend our lives like this on our phones or our computers. Well, we're also like that while we're riding our bike. And our backs are meant to, yes, forward flex, but also extend and rotate. So being able to keep your spine functional, meaning be able to move in all the planes it was built to do, is important. And so I see a lack of that in a lot of cyclists.
And that's a great segue to the next question. Is there's no lateral movement in cycling. You're just moving in a single plane. So are there Pilates exercises that focus on lateral movement, increasing mobility and strengthening glutes and hips?
Yes. Yes. My go-to is a series called the it's called the Sidekick series. So even just a Google
Yes,
search, you're going to find this, the Sidekick
I
series.
hate them.
But me probably means you need it. And gosh, we all do. So there's a lot of different exercises within the series. I mean, there's probably some I've never even seen, but let's say there's like over 10. And a lot of them have a lateral component, and you are working your hips and glutes in a way, you're moving them in directions you don't normally go. Like, as you said, we just go forward. Hopefully we're just going forward, but we're not moving side to side as cyclists. Maybe if you're a tennis player or a hockey player, you have more lateral movement, but all of that forward movement produces a lot of imbalanced muscles, imbalanced and weaknesses in other places. We're strong for sure as cyclists, but there's places where we are weak. And when we can build a better, well-rounded engine, you're again going to be able to produce more force, more watts, and work in a much safer way. So yes, there's the Sidekick series. Is a great one, using the magic circle. A lot of people have seen those rings. You can get them even at Target. There's a way to utilize those to work laterally. And there's also exercises on the Pilates equipment that address lateral movement. But that's something I always do if I know I've got some cyclists in front of me. I know I need it, so I
Yep.
keep going.
So how many times a week should someone incorporate Pilates into their workout routine?
I'm happy with one, especially if you're
Good.
doing none. And one, some people might say, is that can even make a difference? It will totally make a difference. I guarantee it. Give it a few weeks, but as you're doing it, you'll know, like, I need this. You'll feel where you're weak and where you're struggling.
Yes.
So once is great. Can you do it twice? Even better. And then another thing too is more familiar you get with especially mat work, because it's something you could do anywhere. You could do it while you're traveling at home. You don't need to leave your house. Learning certain smaller series like that Sidekick series I mentioned, or we have something called the ab series, could take anywhere from 2 minutes to 10 or 12 minutes. And you literally could do Pilates every day. There's no downfall to not. But one class would be great.
Yeah, great. So can you get a good workout doing, as you mentioned, mat Pilates versus going into a studio and using the Reformer or the Cadillac, which are some of Pilates equipment?
100% yes. I'm a big fan of the mat. And I think sometimes people want the sexiness of all of the studio equipment. And I love the studio equipment. It's fun and it's amazing. And it's totally different. But actually, Joseph Pilates built those equipment pieces because people were struggling in the mat classes. They're hard, as Sherry mentioned, they're hard. So as long as you can move safely and nothing hurts, like no sharp shooting pain, mat work is great. And getting in front of an instructor at various clubs or even a studio sometimes offer mat classes. A good instructor makes a big difference, but absolutely mat work is legit.
Well, you've spoiled me for any other instructor, I have to say.
I love teaching it, as you know. I love teaching it. I believe in it. I do it. And I love hearing from any of my students of how they've benefited from it and the things that they notice, like and it's not just cycling. You will be brushing your teeth and you'll be like, oh, I'm doing it like with better posture, and oh, I'm engaging my abs. I love to hear those stories.
And you definitely see your body change, if you do it a couple times a week, you definitely see a difference.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I do want to mention, I only mentioned like kind of like strength when it came to the Sidekick series and some of those other exercises. It's also the mobility and getting the femur, the thigh to work internally and externally. That's a part of our hips. So when we can when we have like full access to the mobility that our joints should have, we've just increased our opportunities. So that's also something you'll find yourself in positions maybe you've never done while you've been exercising until you've come to a Pilates class. And that's just like, any day. So I think that's an important part to mention too.
Well, Janine, I appreciate your time today. If someone's interested in your coaching services or signing up for one of your killer Pilates classes, how do they get in touch?
I would say the easiest way is to email me, and this is a pretty easy email. It's Janine@visionquestcoaching.com, and you spell my name, Janine. And I check that email all the time, and I'm happy to provide more information or direction. And hopefully I'll see you, if not on a Pilates mat, out on the road.
Well, I will definitely put the email in the video notes for anybody who wants to reach you.
Awesome.
So thanks for watching another Sunflowers and Petals video. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button and make sure to subscribe and enjoy the ride.